Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Women in Math and STEM, where our mission is to reach out to as many professionals, aspiring professionals, students, whatever you name it. We try to reach out to them, essentially support the initiative of bringing more women and young girls into the STEM field. So, with that being said, as always, feel free to open up the description or transcript to better follow along, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hello, and thank you so much for being able to make it today and talk to me on this episode. Just to sort of start off, do you mind briefly introducing yourself, sort of telling us what initially sparked your interest in mechanical engineering and entrepreneurship, and how that eventually led you to where you are now and what you're studying?
Sure. My name is Luana. I am a transfer student at MIT, and I am on my senior year now. Well, my interest in mechanical engineering started back in community college, before I transferred to MIT. I knew I was interested in building things and just learning how system worked in general, but I was not sure which engineering I wanted to follow. I decided to go with mechanical engineering because it is a path in engineering that prepares you for anything, and you can also add electives from other engineering classes. So, if I wanted to take a class focusing on electrical systems or programming, for instance, I could, and it would complement my major. And after community college, I wanted to transfer to a 4 years college. So, of course, as an engineering student, my top choice was MIT. It's simply the best engineering school in the world. Going in, I completely love the environment. There are a lot of opportunities for you to grow academically and personally. And there are also a lot of resources to help you succeed.
I see. I was also just curious since I've noticed that you've had experience working as a research design engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I was just wondering what your experience was like, some of the most exciting parts of your experience, and some of like the details of the projects you've worked on.
Sure. So, NCAS is a NASA Community College Aerospace Scholars. It is a selective program specifically for community college students. There was a first step, which it was a short NASA class where you would have to study what does and have to write a final paper about it at the end. The students who wrote the best papers would then go into the step two of the program. The step two was a design challenge. Basically, this program would pick the best students out of the all of the community colleges in the country, and they would separate them into teams and into different labs. So I paired with other community college students, of course, none from New Jersey, where my community college was from. It was one from California, I think one from Texas, if I'm not wrong. And we worked towards designing a foldable lunar rover in only 5 days. So we needed to prepare a presentation about our work and meet and report to NASA engineers daily. Overall, it was an amazing opportunity. I gained a lot more experience and met new people. Plus, of course, it was super fun to work on a NASA project.
I see. I was also just curious since it seems like you have a lot of like technical as well as leadership and social skills. I was wondering, like, out of all of those skills, what do you think has been like most fundamental to your success or like your growth as like a mechanical engineer?
Yes. I would say resilience, social skills, and taking ownership of things. Looking back at my background, there were many times when I was not sure of my future and I did not have any clear exits in sight. It was essential for me not to allow uncertainty to control my thoughts and just focus on the best I could in to do with what I had. Eventually, things become more clear and what seemed impossible becomes reality. Also, I say social skills because people are very busy nowadays and there is so much competition in the market. No opportunity will just be presented to you, you need to go and get it. So, taking ownership, putting yourself out there, being presentable and kind, and showing what talents you have can put you so far in life.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. I was also just wondering if there were any specific engineering challenges you faced that really pushed you out of your comfort zone and allowed you to grow and like think creatively, and also like how exactly did you overcome them and sort of get over that roadblock of like frustration?
Yes. Well, I'll go towards my internship experience for that. I interned at Boeing twice. Both internships had what it's called a hackathon, the Boeing hackathon, and there were engineers and management at Boeing that will give us an actual problem that they were facing that needed to be resolved, and they will team up the interns to work on it for a week. It was such a good opportunity for me to grow because I had to first work towards truly understanding the problem statement, which does not seem intuitive when you're already given one, but different engineers have different perspectives of the problem. Even though people might understand the problem reasoning differently, you need to make sure how you're gonna solve it, given that people understand it differently. So you have to try to please all of them and solve the problem for them. But first, you need to see how they see the problem. Then from there, just try to come up with a solution while working on a team with interns from different backgrounds, not only engineering. As the team lead, this whole experience was mainly about working with people and then applying engineering skills. There were times that I wasn't sure how to deal with my teammates, as not everyone is open to listening to you, and can become even harder during a challenge like this, where you have time constraints to solve a real problem. But again, in the end, it was all about being open to ideas, but also being able to express technical ideas clearly to people from different backgrounds so they can understand and work towards the same goal.
That's amazing. And also, I was curious about how studying at MIT has influenced and shaped your perspective on mechanical engineering and innovation and creativity, as well as like, have there been any projects that you've been a part of that have really been memorable?
Yeah, I'm not sure because I do not know how other schools teach different approaches, to know how different my approach would be if I were elsewhere. But I can tell that personally, every time I am faced with a problem, I try to first understand what is the issue from its root, then all the factors that can influence this problem, and build from there. One thing I can say is that MIT is all about technology, so I can tell that I tend to look at things from an automation perspective and attempt to make the process easier with fewer steps towards a solution. And a fun fact is that the majority of students at MIT study computer science or a major related to computer science. And there is also a percentage like me, even though computer science is not my main major, I'm minoring in computer science. And that is because we all know automation and programming often go together, and it's essential to know how they work independently of your major.
That's awesome. I think you just mentioned that you have a minor in computer science. I was just wondering, like, you major in mechanical engineering, you have a minor in computer science. That sounds like a lot of stuff that you have to balance. I was just wondering, how do you exactly balance, like, your academics on top of the activities you might do, like, outside of college?
Yes. Well, to be very honest with you, I'm still learning how to find the balance. Overall, I try to prioritize my classes first, then my quality of life, health, and then extracurriculars. So, MIT classes are already full of projects and challenges. They're quite heavy, and being a transfer student already means that you're already set to complete these classes on a tight schedule. So I try to get the most out of my classes and take advantage of the projects to gain experience. I also make sure I'm eating healthy, sleeping enough, and working out to make sure my brain and body can take the academic load. And I use of the summer and IP time, which is January for MIT students, to explore extracurriculars and internships, as I did not take classes during that period.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. I was also just curious, since it seems like you have a passion for creating positive impact through engineering and business. I was just wondering what your dream project or initiative would be if you had like enough time and enough resources to get started in the future.
Well, that's funny because I'm currently thinking about that and I'm still working on my ideas, so I cannot fully describe it, but if I could put into a couple of words, it would be about using technology to make people's life easier.
I see. And speaking about using technology to to help make people's lives easier, how do you see technology sort of helping people in the future with like all the technology advancements going on now?
Well, automation for sure. Big companies using older engineering systems are looking into automating it, making it more practical and decreasing manufacturing hours. That is when the computing background comes in handy.
I see. And then sort of to shift gears and end off, I was wondering if you had any advice, tips, or honestly anything for high school students, but particularly high school girls who are interested in pursuing a career in mechanical engineering or entrepreneurship.
Yes. Um, Academic wise, I would say just make sure you have a really good background in math and physics. Take as many classes as you can in these subjects. Read books about it. Make sure you build a strong mathematical and physical intuition. And mechanical engineering in particular would be just fine. Also, don't ever get in by being a young woman going to a non-man-dominated field. You're going to shine bright just fine. At MIT, the mechanical engineering major is roughly 50-50, and I'm sure they do it for a reason. Being the best mechanical engineering department in the world, they know what they're doing, making 50% female. So,
Sounds good. And once again, thank you so much for being able to make it. It was absolutely amazing talking to you. Thank you.
of course, thank you for inviting me.